days. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Scratch up the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
And welcome to Real Talk here on this lovely Monday night. We are down to 2 teams left in the NFL. One is our very own Chris's Philadelphia Eagles. Talk to him, Chris. Go ahead. We'll give you your time. How you feeling today?
You know, I knew we would be here. I'm excited. Don't get me wrong. I'm very excited to see my team in the Super Bowl. For a lot of people saying the Eagles fans talk, but they never won. We've been winning as of late. Won a Super Bowl in the past 10 years. Cowboys can't say that. We back in the Super Bowl, twice in the past 10 years. Cowboys can't say that. But I'm very happy. In the off season, I saw all the moves the Eagles made. Yeah, shots fired. I wish Kenny was here. Again, our condolences to Kenny. But Kenny, when you come back, it's still gonna be all the smoke. Yeah. In the all season, I saw the moves the Eagles made, and I was taking notice. I didn't want to say we were going to make the Super Bowl because I'm a realistic fan. I'm not one of these fans that's delusional. I'm realistic. I looked at us on paper, and a team like the Rams that folded. Nobody thought the Rams would fold that bad. They had all the superstar talent on paper. I look at a team like the Buccaneers. You never count on a guy like Tom Brady. There are teams that were in the NFC that you thought, man, they were going to give the Eagles a run for their money. And when those teams started to crumble, the Eagles only became stronger. And I look at us now, and we're going against the Kansas City Chiefs. This team that's supposed to be this dynasty. But if you look at them in the playoffs versus the Eagles playoff run, you notice something. Which team was most dominant? The Eagles. Which team looks like they're a little more wounded right now? The Chiefs. So I feel as though this is going to be a great Super Bowl. I'm glad my team is in the Super Bowl. Sadly, I cannot be in Philly during the Super Bowl, have my conference championships up in North Carolina. But best believe I'm being in a hotel lobby going crazy with my teammates, watching the Eagles bring home the dub. But I'm glad all Philly is excited. We got a young squad. We got a quarterback we believe in. We got a coach we believe in. We got a team we believe in. It is great to be a Philadelphia Eagles fan right now.
I hear that. I do. I have not a lot to say. You guys did what you had to do. You got it done. Dev, shout out to Dev. What's going on, Dev? How you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I ain't feeling all hyped up like Chris, but you know what I mean? I'm feeling all right. Shout out to you, the Eagles, Chris.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
I know you supported a bird team, but y'all ain't playing.
It seemed like the Eagles soar a little bit higher than the Ravens.
That is the truth. But outside of that, Dev, what's been going on with you outside of that? Where the people can find you at?
They can find me most definitely on all the social media platforms: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Instagram is MTMO_sports podcast. You can find me on Facebook at my THTS my opinion, and you can find me on Twitter at the same thing as Facebook. Episodes dropping every Tuesday. My thoughts, my opinion, sports podcast. I most definitely gave the heat to the Cowboys on the last episode. It was a lot of these Cowboy fans just jumping off at the mouth. They thought they was going to the road to the Super Bowl, but they wind up sitting their ass on the couch with me and my Ravens. But no, y'all most definitely check me out. My 96th episode will be out tomorrow evening.
Love to hear. And Chris, you said you and your teammates. What you got going on?
Yeah, so I got a track meet coming up this Saturday. Your son is college. My chapter's founder day is coming up on Monday, February 6th. I got my conference championships on February 11th, 12th, and 13th. I'm a busy guy, but listen, man, I love sports. I love to be happy, and I'm happy right now, so I can't complain not one bit.
Nah, I definitely hear that. What you running or you throwing? What do you
I
do for
throw
your
shot
practice?
put indoor and outdoor. I throw shot put, discus, and javelin.
All right, I didn't know we had an athlete on the show, a
Oh
college
yeah,
athlete.
man.
You getting
Scholarship
any of
athlete,
the
man.
NIL money at? Where the NIL money at?
Oh man, listen. Well, I'm a part of the student athlete advisory committee. Every school has one, and we are working on bringing some NIL money to HBCUs, to small HBCUs. You have the big ones. To the CIAA, that's the conference I'm in, and listen, HBCUs, we getting better. Dion was the spark, and I think he's going to spark a lot of schools, a lot of former athletes, a lot of people in the limelight to say, listen, it's not all about you. And shout out to these schools. This is no hating, but it's not all about the Howards, the Hamptons, the Morehouse, the Spelmans. What about the first HBCU, which is Link University? What about Cheney University? What about Morgan State? What about the other HBCUs that might not get the same limelight as the ones that some people that famous went to and graduated from and always donate to? There's hundreds of HBCUs. There's some that are struggling right now that we need to give back to. That's something I want to do in my time.
Love to hear it. Getting to it. Definitely exciting stuff. Y'all know me, Mr. Ray Bond. We got the Bond Chronicles Mondays at noon. Patreon is usually dropping on Tuesday at noon, or sorry, Thursdays at noon. So definitely check us out there. Big things popping. But we got sports to get to, so let's get right into it. Eagles advance. San Francisco got smitten at the quarterback position. They was able to outrun quarterback injuries all year until they couldn't outrun him anymore. Brock Purdy, it's come out, has a torn UCL, which is like a baseball injury, I believe, which is just a really weird situation. Their quarterbacks got hurt on basically the same play, in the same style and fashion, but hurt two different ways. And ultimately, they couldn't throw the ball, which we can get into the strategy there of Kyle Shanahan. But what do we think? Was that the right strategy? Should they have tried to use someone else at quarterback? Like, it seemed like they just kind of gave up because they couldn't do anything at that point. Dev, your thoughts?
First and foremost, shout out to the San Francisco 49ers, man, because they played one hell of a defense, man. Like they had the Eagles all the way until about mid third quarter, and you can just tell like the Kyle Shanahan magic was over. You know what I mean? To him trying to get these quarterbacks juiced up and ready, and trying to just to throw them out there, and I just think that Kyle Shanahan magic had just ran out. So this sucks that Brock Purdy, because I really wanted to see what was Brock Purdy going to do in the biggest, one of the biggest stages of his career right now, and for him to go out like that, it sucked. But gotta give credit to Philly. Philly came out with a game plan and said we're gonna come out being physical, we're gonna hit hard, we're gonna hit fast, and we don't care who's in the way. And that's exactly what they did to the San Francisco O line. That O line couldn't stand a chance against Philly pass rush. And Hassan Reddick, man, that guy was a headache yesterday. I felt sorry for any tackle, tight end, running back that had to block him because he was on a mission. And if he keeps going on like that, Kansas City is going to have a long Super Bowl, man, a long one. But my take on it is, like I said, I just think when you get down to your fourth quarterback, there's nothing else you can really do. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what game plan or what you try to throw out there, it just wasn't going to be enough. And that isolated San Francisco weapons. They couldn't use Debo pretty much no more. Now they can't use Ayuk. They couldn't use Kittle. It was just nothing they can do, and just for you just to run the ball, man. And the way, like I said, Philly was already physical. That running game was just going to get shut down eventually. So 49ers did what they best they could. I don't think it was nothing else they can do, because they did had Christian McCaffrey throw a pass, and I don't know who the hell he was throwing to. You know what I mean? What, nobody on that side of the field. So it was just once Brock Purdy went down, that was it. That was pretty much game.
Understand, Chris? What was your takeaway from the game outside of obviously y'all winning?
Obviously, Dev's point. I mean, the San Francisco 49ers, their defense, they proved why they will always be one of the best defenses, if not, some can argue the best defense in the NFL. I look at what the Eagles did and how they were able to win the game. 144 yards on the ground. Yes, we ran the ball. We had a lot of runners. One thing I say about the Eagles, we'll adapt to how we need to win in any circumstance. That's why I love this team. If we can throw the ball, we'll throw the ball for 300 plus yards. If we're going to run it, we got 4 guys that can give you from 50 to 100 yards. We have 4 rushing touchdowns. So running the ball isn't an issue. But I don't want to brag about the Eagles. I'm going to talk about San Fran real quick. We see all the memes of how they went through every single quarterback. But I applaud them because a lot of teams would lose their starter on their done. Second string done. Third string done. I mean, this team went through 4 quarterbacks this year and still had a chance to make it to the Super Bowl. So I just want to applaud the San Francisco 49ers. We all say they're a quarterback away, and they're just a healthy quarterback away from really being the team that's a real threat. But to how they played, when you lose, Brock Purdy, when you lose Johnson, you don't have a quarterback on your roster, it's hard to throw. Do I wish they were able to use Debo a little bit more? Absolutely. Use the acute, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, Brandon Ayuk, I think. Ayuk, yeah, Brandon Ayuk. Lose it more? Absolutely. Same thing with Kittle. CMC played a hell of a game. I mean, CMC, real quick on him, a lot of people thought that was a bad move for some reason to get CMC, and he proved why he still should be in the argument for a top 5 running back. And also, I heard that Buffalo had a chance to get him and said the price was too high. I know they're regretting that right now because they have absolutely no running game. So when you got a superstar like CMC, we see the difference he made for that 49ers team. He was their offense. And if they had a healthy Brock Purdy, I'll be honest, I didn't think it was going to be a blowout. I thought this game was going to come between 3 to 7 points. And yes, I picked my Eagles to win, but the San Francisco 49ers had every opportunity, if they had a healthy quarterback, to be successful in this ball club. So, in this game. So, no Brock Purdy, obviously their chances went out the window. But shout out to the 49ers. They had a hell of a year, played a hell of a game. They made the Eagles work for it, and I'm excited to see what their future is. But real quick, Dev, you weren't here when I asked this question. You got the 49ers. You have 3 quarterbacks in that room. Brock Purdy just led you to the NFC Championship. What do? You have 2 young quarterbacks, and you have Jimmy G. What are you doing in the offseason? Who is your starting quarterback going into the year?
Now, do we still factor in Brock Purdy injury?
You can factor that in as well if you want. Now because when I asked that he wasn't hurt, but now that he's hurt, we're not going to ignore that factor.
If I'm San Francisco right now, I am keeping Jimmy G to start the season. You will have to keep all 3, because you don't know which quarterback is going to come healthy in the start of the camp. And if they was talking about if the 49ers was able to get to the Super Bowl, he was eligible to be a backup quarterback. So that lets me know that Jimmy G, at least when training camp and everything is coming around, to kind of raise his stock. Also, if he can come to camp, be in great shape, and kind of lead the first, let's just say 3 games of the season. Now you kind of got a nice trade bait for San Francisco. But it's going to be a hard decision, honestly. But I would trade Jimmy G. Jimmy G has to go. Because there's not enough room for him. I don't think San Francisco wants to be dealing with a vet quarterback or a pocket quarterback. Let me say that. I think the way San Francisco offense is, they are a better threat with a quarterback that can do both, a dual threat quarterback. So I would trade Jimmy G. Now that Purdy is most definitely on this injury. He slides back to number 2. I think you still have to see what Trey Lance has to offer, because the season wasn't going too bad with Trey Lance, but the season was starting off rocky, and we still got the what ifs. What if Trey Lance would have finished the season? How would the San Francisco, or how would he mature and stuff like that? And if things don't go right and Brock Purdy injury and his recovery goes right, you can throw Brock Purdy right back in and say, hey, the Trey Lance experience didn't work. So I would most definitely keep those two, but I would trade Jimmy G.
So here's the problem, Dev, with that. Jimmy G's a free agent now. He had signed a 1-year deal, so he's unrestricted.
Oh, well.
So you can't really trade him. You would have to sign and trade him. So given that you would have to sign him in order to trade him or just have him on the roster, do you let him walk for nothing, or are you trying to sign and trade him, or what are you trying to do?
I think they kind of F themselves last year when they pretty much was great let Jimmy G walk anyway. And they was ready to go with the full Trey Lance experience. So I guess you kind of screwed yourself. So you kind of got to let him walk now. And maybe I guess since you threw Josh Johnson in there, maybe you want to start the season off with him, maybe just until one of them get healthy. But you screwed yourself by not saying that, hey, Jimmy, we can at least use you as the backup. You know what I mean? But they was pretty much saying, hey, let's get rid of this guy. We done with him. We don't need him. He ain't our guy. So if I'm Jimmy G, screw you in your 1-year sign and deal trade. I'm gonna see what my market got to offer.
I'm with you on that because you can definitely dictate your terms. Chris, what do you think? If you're San Fran, do you keep Trey? I think you keep Purdy on their own rookie deals. Jimmy is free, but then do you really want to risk 2 injury quarterbacks? So you got to have some healthy quarterback.
And I'm glad you brought that up because that's something you have to factor. Both quarterbacks are coming off. I mean, all 3 quarterbacks are coming off an injury. So you got 3. You got 3 injured quarterbacks. How do you want this to play out? You have a vet in Jimmy G, a guy that's been there, a guy that's took you to a Super Bowl. You got a guy in Trey Lance who obviously you believed in because for some reason you drafted him over Justin Fields. I would never understand that. You got a guy in Brock Purdy who bought into the system and showed that he can play in the system. So I think honestly Trey Lance and Brock Purdy are your 1 and 2. Those guys are going to stay here. What Brock Purdy showed, he showed more promise in offense than Trey Lance. The problem is Purdy was the last pick and Trey Lance was the 3rd pick. So, in conventional wisdom, you got to favor. Well, it used to be you got to favor to the guy who's the higher pick. But now, especially with the 49ers, they're going to favor to the guy, especially after what he showed. I think they should start favoring to the guy that you believe in most. So I think it's going to be an open battle. Trey might get a nod depending on how healthy Purdy is, but I wouldn't be surprised if Purdy's the starting quarterback for this team.
Just a quick update. Philly is seemingly about to catch
it makes no sense how you blew this lead. They was up 18, and now you're about to lose the game. Sorry for that.
Paolo just dunked it to basically put him away.
Yep, it's over.
Put him in the coffin, as they say, for tonight.
It's over. I'm disappointed.
It happens. It happens. You can't win them all,
No. My parlay. It's Parlay Monday, Ray. Parlay Monday.
Understand. But we did have another game. We had another game.
The Lakers is up on the Brooklyn Nets, 82-77, 146 left in the 3rd.
Bron's not playing.
Yeah.
Or AD, I don't think Bron.
No, AD or Bron is playing. Kyrie is playing, but no KD. Westbrook is in the starting lineup.
No, I got Westbrook.
Westbrook came off the bench this game. When I looked at it, they showed Westbrook was coming off the bench. ESPN might have lied to me.
Yeah, ESPN got him on the bench, and now it's a 2-point game anyway. Actually, I'll switch to that game since this Sixers game is over. But the Bengals couldn't figure it out. Patty Mahomes figured it out, got it done. All that talk about his ankle, I only saw it when it seemed fitting. When he needed to get it done, Patty Mahomes got it done. So, what does Cincinnati do, and how does Cincinnati feel after that kind of loss? Chris, I'll start with you.
One, I look at it like this. I was told they had injuries on our offensive line, but that offensive line was horrendous. That was an issue.
That was the issue last year too.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting to.
It was great the week before.
It was great the week before, even though Buffalo, I mean, they're missing their best pass rusher, so I'm not even going to, talk about them. They're missing Von Miller. You see when you go against a Pro Bowl, All Pro type of pass rusher, you see what happens. That offensive line is an issue. I will say the lack of consistency on the offensive end was an issue. I will also say we can talk about the referees and some missed calls, but that what's that penalty called? Late hit, unnecessary roughness was terrible. Terrible.
What?
Terrible on the player or terrible on the refs?
On the player.
Oh,
Okay. All right,
Oh,
all right.
no. That was the right call. I'm saying, remember they missed the holding before.
yeah.
But that was, these are two separate things. My fault for the miscommunication. The late hit, unnecessary roughness was one of the worst things you could do as a player. It was the most idiotic thing he could have done. And so when you see the clip of the guy, going off, he has every right to, because you cost us the game. I'm looking at it. I'm saying, okay, I'm looking at. I'm just getting back from Walmart. I'm looking at my phone. I'm not getting out the car. I'm like, listen, oh my goodness, Kansas City. If anybody got opportunity, they do. I'm seeing where they're in the field, no timeouts. I said, oh, it's gonna go in overtime. Next thing you know, I'm seeing them at Cincinnati like 20 something. I said, what happened? Unnecessary roughness. What are you doing? Who makes it? Then I see the clip. You talk about one of the worst plays you can make as a player. He single-handedly cost him the game. How bad Cincinnati was playing, they still had an opportunity to win. And that play, I don't care what nobody says. You can say all the plays that happened before that, but we're talking about the end of the game, the difference that could have been made. And that play made a difference. And it was the wrong difference for Cincinnati and ultimately led Kansas City to go to the Super Bowl. Listen, I loved how Kansas City turned up on Cincinnati, though. I loved the pettiness. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. That's what you gotta love about sports. I love it. I love it. I love it. They absolutely deserve to be petty, because since he was petty all week, and so karma came bit him in the ass.
That it did. I agree with you. I think that the trash talk was necessary, and I like it. I like it a lot. I think these two teams and two quarterbacks will be around for a while. So I think we're going to get to see this matchup a time or two more. God willing, everybody stay healthy. But I was impressed. I was impressed to a certain extent, and I was disappointed to a certain extent. I think Cincinnati left a lot of opportunities out there on the floor or out there on the field. There were opportunities late for Joe Burrow to prove that he was that man, and he didn't get it done. Pat Mahomes did. You can say what you want, but if we all believe his high ankle sprain to be what it was, he drew that last penalty because he sucked it up and made that play. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't scramble, that penalty doesn't happen. And that's what happens. When you make a play, you make a play. And I was a bit disappointed in Cincy. I thought they were past that. And when they were talking the way they were talking, I expected more. I expected a better performance than that when you're talking the way that you're talking. The mayor and everybody else. What have y'all won? Y'all done started popping off just like Memphis. What have y'all won? You got to start. You got to win something before you start talking too crazy. And I think this will be a good lesson to be learned. I will also say they got some decisions to make because they got two people that are super expensive that they got to figure out how to pay both of them. And their running back is not cheap. Their receiving core ain't cheap. And some of their defensive players ain't cheap. So Buffalo talked about it. When you got the bill, we talked about it on the last episode. When you got that much free money, you can do a lot. When all that cap space gets eaten up, now you really got to figure it out. So I'll be very curious to see what happens with Cincy. Shout out to them and everything they did for DeMar Hamlin, but y'all got to go. You got to go. Dev, your takeaways from the Chiefs Bengals game.
Number one, I think the Bengals came in there just a little bit too arrogant. And I think that's what really caught them up. They came in there with the Joe Burrow head stadium name and the mayor popping off, and I think that it took them out of their character and they forgot how they got there. Off of just nothing but just straight brick gut physical play. And like I said, they just forgot how they played Buffalo the week before. The way they beat Buffalo was Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon was your man. Your 20 carries over 100 yards. When they stopped putting in Joe Mixon hand, I was like, oh, this game is not gonna go the way I thought it was gonna go. Like Cincinnati was knocking at the door multiple times, but all they had to do was just give it to Joe Mixon because I believe that Joe Mixon brought that physical play, and long as that he was getting 3 to 4 yards to carry and was popping off with it, it was getting into Kansas City psyche. And then, but once they stopped feeding Joe Mixon, and there was no longer a physical game, so now you plan into a finesse game, which is Patrick Mahomes type of game. He's going to be that quarterback that can get you out the dirt, can get you out of any hole that you need to get out of, because he has arguably good ready to be one of the greatest tight ends of all time. You know what I mean? And if all year we kept saying, well, what are you going to do without Tyreek? What's going to happen without this guy, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who Green Bay did not want anymore, was Kansas City top wide receiver last night. Like, wow. No Juju. Tony went down. Kelsey got quiet after the first half. You know what I mean? So it was just like Cincinnati played the Kansas City game plan. It was coming down to who quarterback was better and which quarterback has seen it before. And Patrick Mahomes didn't seen it. We didn't already just say wow to Patrick Mahomes his first 3 years in the league. It is like now we don't even say wow. It's just like, oh, that's just Patrick Mahomes. He does this now. He does the no look, the sidearm, can scramble out the pocket, hard to take down. Like we didn't already knew this is who Patrick Mahomes was. And the only thing about the Bengals I dislike was don't call out. I understand that dude made a mistake. He made the most terrible mistake that you can possibly ever make. But for a teammate, you don't down that man. You know what I mean? You I'm pretty sure that his adrenaline and everything was rushing, and it was just like, I got to get Mahomes. I got to be the guy that do it. And he was just 2 steps late. Just way he would just you just don't bash him. You don't go on camera and just say, man, why would he do this?
Let me ask you this,
he
Dev.
do it.
Dev, let me ask you this. Like you talk about that clip that went viral, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, the reason why I don't think that's an issue is because he didn't do it on camera in front of the camera. That's something where like they're walking back to their locker room. Like I don't think he was camera. Like I don't think he was really doing it for personally. I could be wrong. I don't
I'm
think
not
he was
saying that he was doing it for the attention,
Mhm.
but you know that your profession is that every time that you leave out that locker room, it's the camera. It's the camera following you from that locker room to the field, and from the field to the locker room where they don't have no more access. You know what I mean? Like I say, I understand that you're frustrated, you're mad, and homeboy he messed it up because it could have been a different ball game if Cincinnati would have got it back or took it to overtime, because now we could have seen that overtime rule now. That we was all destined to see that we thought that Josh Allen and Mahomes was going to be in again. So I just think that I wouldn't have called them out. Now inside the locker room with doors closed, and you want to get in his tail. I totally get it. You know what I mean? But just the walk off, you already understand it's the heat of the moment. But don't down them. You know what I mean? You got to big your man up. You got to let him know, yo, next time, because I'm pretty sure Cincinnati is probably going to be knocking on the door at least one more time before, like Ray said, it's time to make the decision about these contracts now, because it's going to have to, you're going to have to pay Burrow and Chase, and you might wind up losing Higgins and Boyd. You know what I mean? So Cincinnati most definitely got at least 1 or 2 more windows knocking at the door for them to get this opportunity again. So just big them up, let them know, yo, next year when we here, you can't do this again, Doug. You know what I mean? You rather just dive on the ground for him not to tackle him, or just stop running.
Yeah, no, I definitely think there was a lot of different things that occurred in the game. I don't think that necessarily Cincinnati was outmatched per se. I do agree with you. I just think maybe they were overconfident, but
Mm-hmm.
they got away
That's
from what
something you
works
said
best.
last week too, Ray. You said Cincinnati, they might come in a little too confident.
I did.
And that Ray Stradamus. That is something he said. I'll give you your credit, Dev. That's something he said on Thursday because I picked Cincinnati to win, and that was one of his biggest, I want to say issues, but question marks.
And so this will be a good humbling lesson. But Mahomes is Mahomes, and we got ourselves a matchup.
But I got a question because this been buzzing ever since I woke up this morning. Do
Talk to me.
y'all think this game was rigged? Do you think it was? This is how people was painting it for me. That Kansas City got 2 third down plays. I don't know if y'all were paying attention, but the ref was trying to stop one of the third down play, but it didn't get stopped. They still ran it, and then they tried to make it to 4th down. Then they called a little huddle. Was like, hold up, I was trying to stop the play. We got to go resume 3rd down again. So a lot of people was saying like, well, the way sports betting is so big now, it's so big that it felt like referees are in the pocket now. Do y'all think that um that game was pretty much rigged? Do you think it was favoring Kansas City more than it was Cincinnati? Just because of one of those plays like that.
I'll say this. I feel like some people just brush off the rig conversation, but I mean we've seen it in the NBA playoffs with the Kings and with the Lakers. It's
Mm-hmm.
apparent. There was also something. I'm going to get to your question. I just want to point out some things before I get there. There was also something. There's a referee, and we're going to talk about this. Actually, I'll save that fact for later on when we talk about the NBA. I'll save
Mm-hmm.
that fact. So just to stick on NFL, do I think do I think the league wants Patrick Mahomes to be the next guy, so they want him to win? Absolutely. Do I think it was rigged? I don't know. It's hard to say that because as much as you want Pat Mahomes to be the next guy, you got a guy in Joey Burrow that can be the face. You got a guy in like they have 3-4 quarterbacks in the AFC outside of Patrick Mahomes that can easily be that guy. So I don't want to necessarily say it was rigged because the Bengals had opportunities. Now, were there a lot of questionable things that happened? Absolutely, and it's always going to happen like that when you have the human element with
Mm-hmm.
referees. It's always going to happen. But I honestly do not think. I would hope this game was not rigged because it could have went either way. Now there were some questionable things.
Right.
I just personally, I don't think it was rigged.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go to the rigged conversation. I've seen too much bad officiating across too many different sports.
Oh yeah, I'm
Say
gonna
that.
save that fact for when we get to the NBA. I got an
Yeah,
interesting fact for you,
that,
Dev.
Yeah.
I almost felt like LeBron when he was stomping and yelling.
Listen, I got an interesting fact for you.
Okay, we gonna get there for sure. But for me, yeah, I don't think rigged. I don't think the NFL cared either way. I think Cincinnati has a huge following. Kansas City has a similar blue collar huge following. I think they're interchangeable. I would argue Cincy might be more box office with Jamar Chase and Burrow and their swagger. Cincinnati apparently, or Kansas City is trying to get blown up. Apparently, Eric Bieniemy wants to be an offensive coordinator elsewhere, which I don't
I don't
fully understand that.
understand that. He should be a head coach in my eyes, but tomato tomato.
Yeah, so I'm not sure the inner workings. They say we're in the running. I'll take them. God knows I'll take them.
Yeah, they
I
they
don't know why the heck he would leave Pat Mahomes for us.
yeah, and we even gotta have an interview with him. I don't know when, but I'm looking like, wow, you want to be a offensive coordinator again, my man?
And just for the record, Brooklyn is pulling away from the Lakers ever since
Yeah,
I started watching.
yeah, I turned it off since you started watching.
Yeah, I
You,
understand why you would do that.
you like a bad seed.
But yeah, let's get to, and I guess I'm gonna miss. I'm gonna probably miss my opportunity to get at Kenny because I'm gonna be gone here in the next couple weeks, and at that point, I'm gonna probably be over football.
Yeah, man, you gonna be on tour, man. What you got going on, man? Golly.
Me and the lady, we're gonna jet set up out of here, run around Italy for a couple days, about a week or so. and spend some time in Paris. End up so. If anybody would like to see more, you can subscribe to my Patreon. We'll be having exclusive content while we're on our trip. But I'll just be out for a little bit. We need a break. It's been crazy. So yeah. But I will be back right in time, probably mid-February. Recap the Super Bowl. That's the other part. So there's 6 hours ahead. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna watch the Super Bowl at 2 a.m.
Set your timer.
In some residential part of Pisa. So that'll be fun. But Kenny, anyway, I do want to get to a quick offensive coordinator change. And I guess this is where the Rooney Rule does not come in for assistance, because I found out early in the morning that Kellen Moore got fired. And by that night, he had a job with the Los Angeles Chargers. So Dallas decided that.
Hold on, time out. Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator for Dallas.
Yeah.
There used to be a quarterback in this league also.
Yeah.
He got fired. He get fired, like Saturday or Sunday, right?
I don't even know if it was that long ago, but let's go with that.
Okay. And you said he has a job?
Yeah, he's the offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers. Google it.
Keep going. Wow. Brian Leftwich couldn't get a job?
Dallas offense put up big numbers. You see what he did with CD?
And where was these big numbers against San Fran? We put up 31.
What was the big numbers against Washington?
So that leads me to my point. The question that I was going to get to. Did that get Kellen Moore fired? Because you could argue he put him in position, but when your quarterback just make dumb decisions, you can have the greatest game plan in the world, but if you throw the ball to the other team 7 straight weeks, 3 of which are 3 weeks we have pick sixes, is that more Kellen's fault?
I see where you're going. Dak, I don't want to sit out here and say Dak is the reason he got fired, because it may be some more pieces to the puzzle, but I will say, Kellen Moore had this offense the offense sometimes had the highest highs and the lowest lows. Some of that can be on Dak, some of that can be on play calling. I think it goes hand in hand. I will say,
Dak
however,
who was it on that post?
No, I'm going to get there. I'm going to blame Dak. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to blame Dak because Dak is the leader of this team, and he's shown that he's a terrible quarterback. And yes, I'm going to say that and stand on it. Dev, I don't know if you were here for that. Dak can no longer be in a conversation for a top 20 quarterback in the NFL.
What?
Top 20.
Woo!
I'll be modest and say top 15, but I'm feeling top 20 right now. However, Dak played a part in it, and honestly, going over the Chargers are a whole mess in themselves because, what they shown and what they did against the Jaguars is inexcusable. So I don't even want to predict what I want to see with them because they lost all expectations to hope for me in the future. I do not care to predict anything for the Chargers after what they did. I hope him success. I hope Herbert can have a great year and that team can put up some numbers. But the Chargers are on my ban list from ever speaking of rooting for or congratulating. Shout out to him for getting the job, though. I'm not going to hate on the man getting his pockets heavy.
Dev, your thoughts?
I'm hating. I don't care. I'm hating.
Hate for me.
It's no way that a guy that has been the offensive coordinator and helped Mike Evans reach 9 consecutive 1,000 yards. And you telling me Kellen Moore gets the job before Brian Leftwich? You got man. Look, number one, I'm with you on the Dak. Dak. It seems like Dak didn't get him fired. It seems like Dallas was looked like they was ready to part ways from Kellen Moore anyway, because for him to have a job that quick, it has to. Where is what's that word, man? Where's the tampering rule at in the NFL? Because it's Because all right, let's go down the scenario. Dak was pretty much tied with Derek Carr in interceptions this year. Dak led the quarterbacks with most pick sixes. Dak was still have not led his team has the divisional round. Have they made it to the NFC Championship since that?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, so he has not got out of the divisional round yet. I'm trying to see like where did Callum? How come Jason Garrett is not an offensive coordinator no more then? Because it's pretty much like I don't know, man. That it's some suspicion. That Rooney Rule it must have escaped. I don't see how that happened, man. Charges. It looks like Justin Herbert. It looks like he's going to be a candidate for leading the interceptions next year. If we want to say that Kellen Moore want to push the hand on Dak interceptions, I don't know, man. That shocked me. That caught me unsuspected. I didn't know that he got a job that quick. Wow.
So I'm gonna give Kellen Moore a little credit. I think he's a good offensive coordinator. I think he figured out with the loss of Amari Cooper how to keep that offense going with Noah Brown, Michael Gallup out, Devontae Turpin, and a bunch of other guys. T.Y. Hilton. And that offense was purring. Even with Zeke declining every single year, they figured out how to get Tony Pollard involved. He put Dak in position to be successful on a regular basis. Dak just missed throws. So the picks that he was throwing were terrible interceptions. They were schematic blips that Dak was unprepared for and this throws he shouldn't have made. I think this will be a breath of fresh air for Justin Herbert. I think this will allow him to take a step forward. I think this will allow Kellen Moore to resurrect his career. And I think that's a great position to go to because I do believe we all saw Justin Herbert needs help.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever they had in LA was not enough because they performed like trash. And that's unacceptable. So I think that's a win for them. And good luck to whatever offensive coordinator comes in.
Got him right back.
I think the other part to your point, Dev, was I would not be surprised if Kellen Moore went to them and said, hey, it looks like y'all trying to bring McCarthy back. Dan Quinn has turned down other gigs, allegedly, because he believes he's going to be the next coach here. So if I'm not going to be the coach here, what the heck are we doing?
Right.
Let me go ahead and bounce. Y'all find somebody else. This didn't work. Best of luck and move on. But you got to call it what it is. If Jalen Hurts was in Dallas this year, Kellen Moore doesn't get fired, in my opinion. And so the poor performance that was displayed, it wasn't like they lost in a shootout. I think they scored 12 points. You have that offense.
One of the worst offensive performances we've seen from such a juggernaut offensive team. 12 points.
So let's flip the question real quick. If Justin Herbert was on Dallas this year with Kellen Moore, with the weapons that he has, does Justin Herbert outperform Dak this year?
It's not even close. I think so. I think
without a doubt.
Okay, I'm with y'all. I'm with y'all, but you know what I mean, because Justin Herbert still had a good season, and he had less turnovers. With Mike Williams and Keenan Allen going in and out the lineup this year,
in and out all year. So let me be clear: Justin Herbert did have a bad game, but he's better than Dak Prescott, and I don't think that is that close, in my opinion.
It seemed like Dak is not in the top 20 quarterback.
Hey, I told you, Taylor Heineke is a better value. I said that all year.
So
you factor in Taylor Heineke's rookie deal versus what they're paying Dak for that kind of performance. I'm taking Taylor every day of the week.
So are we putting Dak Prescott down there with Sam Darnold and Zach Wilson?
Nah, he ain't that bad. He ain't that bad.
Chris saying yeah.
I'm hating a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest real quick. Let me get off FanDuel. Let me be honest with you. What you do not perform like that You do not. You know how tired I am of hearing Dak Prescott's a top 5 quarterback. Dak Prescott's the best quarterback in NFCs, and the way you perform right here because they'll say, "Well, Jalen Hurts hasn't had a stutter or a stellar offensive game in the playoffs," but Jalen Hurts leads us to victories. But Jalen Hurts might not get it with his arms, but he'll get it done with his legs. Jalen Hurts won't turn the ball over and lose the game for you like Dak Prescott will. So for Cowboys fans to text me right now and tell me all these things about your quarterback, quarterback's a bum.
I can't wait. I cannot wait to the offseason and we all back together. Because I need to see. Listen. I need to see the list of the 15 to 20 quarterbacks. I need to see who's in front of him now.
Listen. Don't let CJ Stroud get drafted to the right team with weapons. I'll put him over Dak. That's how I'm feeling right now.
If Justin Fields, even with the team that he's on,
if Justin Fields got 1 to 2 weapons, oh my goodness. Let me just say this: if Justin Fields was drafted by San Fran, they'd be in a Super Bowl.
Facts.
That is
they probably been in Super Bowl back-to-back years. I said this, listen, I don't mean to go on a tangent, but I wanted Justin Fields to go number 1.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
But when I found out he could go to San Fran, I said, oh, it's over for the NFC. I said this. I was on ASAP.
If y'all have it, y'all need to tune in to Golden State and OKC.
Oh yeah, it's in the background. Trust me. I need.
They is having a shootout.
Oh yeah. Listen, I think SGA scored 10 points in the third quarter alone.
Oh man,
SGA's going crazy right now.
I was wasting my time on the Brooklyn Nets.
And Dev, you weren't here when I talked about my All-Stars. And when we get to NBA, we'll talk about that. But to wrap it all up, when the 49ers had a chance to draft Justin Fields, and they didn't draft him, and I will go on record saying this, that might be the biggest mistake they're going to make in the next 5 to 10 years.
Not a chance. If Brock Purdy come back healthy, he had him in an NFC Championship game.
Like I said, and you can believe what you want to believe.
One
had him in the NFC Championship game. One, I believe, could have them winning the Super Bowl. I believe they'll find a way. They're a plug and play team with the quarterback. Don't one of the only teams that can do it. They'll find a way to be successful. But I believe they had a chance to be dominant and they missed the opportunity. Now Trey Lance is the only one that can prove me wrong. Trigger Trey, let me see something because I got faith in you. But Justin Fields showed me that. Get that boy some receivers. We talk about Lamar. We talk about Jalen Hurts.
Let's keep it a buck though. Justin Fields just got them the number 1 pick in the draft. So if you're telling me 2 receivers away and you got the number 1 pick, I can't really rock with that. Now I like Justin Fields. Let me be abundant.
No. I didn't. When I mean 2 receivers away, I mean from him being in a conversation as the top quarterback, not them winning. They suck. Let's be honest. The Bears are garbage. So let me rephrase that. When I mean receivers away, I mean from him putting up some good numbers, so he's in the conversations, not just rushing numbers. That's what I meant. Oh, they're bottom feeders in that NFC North. Bottom feeders.
For sure. So let's get into it. We can get to the basketball. The foul call not heard around the world.
You ready? Tell me when you're ready for these stats, Dev.
There have been a lot of egregious officiating mistakes throughout the year across all sports. I said that earlier. However, instant replay exists for a reason. And y'all know I'm not the biggest Bron lover like a lot of people. But I do appreciate his greatness and I respect his greatness. And I wanted to see him shoot them free throws at the end of the game. So my question to y'all talked about rigged. Chris, talk to us. What you think happened?
First of all, what I used to dislike LeBron. Let's go all the way there. I used to be a season ticket holder for the Philadelphia 76ers. And when his first stint with Cleveland, he got fouled. They didn't call it. He cried to the ref all the way to the locker room. They ran back on. He shot the free throws. They won. That's when I saw LeBron cries and whines. I was with them. until you really watch him, you really see how much he gets hit. Then when I hear, I said, "Oh, it's probably a knick-knack foul. It wasn't nothing." Then I watched the replay and see that changed the whole shot. And then I see this stat, Dev. Apparently, NBA referee Eric Lewis, his wife and his family, they're all Celtics fans. Can you see it? Can you see it? They're all Celtics fans. And guess the record when the Celtics, guess when he refs, they're saying the record is 36-2.
36-2.
36-2. Now, when things come out like that, it's hard to say stuff isn't rigged. It's hard to say that. It's hard not to say this stuff is rigged because that was one of the most obvious fouls. And there's no way at the end of the game. I feel as though if something like that happens at the end of the game, it needs to be instant replay. When there's a game-winning shot, there needs to be instant replay because that was one of the most worst. That might be one of, if not the most terrible missed calls on LeBron I've ever seen. We say he whines and complains. That call right there will change the narrative. It will change. I'm telling you now, that's going to be the call that will start changing the narrative. It's going to have people thinking, well, maybe he doesn't whine and complain because that cost him the game. And if I'm not mistaken, Dev, correct me if I'm wrong. There's been a couple games like that where it's been the ref messing y'all up from being successful.
3 games.
So listen, when you talk about rigged, that's something that cannot be ignored. If I'm the NBA, you need to really look into see if that's true about that record. And yeah, no more reffing the Celtics games for him.
I hear the tinfoil hats out there just cooking. Let's be clear here. It was a foul. The New Orleans Saints are still waiting on their pass interference call.
Is they? 2 years straight.
So it happens. They had overtime. Did you see the way he was crawling on the ground? That was a grown man.
They made a meme of him.
He had to crawl because if he reacted how he really wanted, if he reacted how any other NBA player reacted, come on now. Oh, LeBron can't be acting like this. He should have cussed him out. That's what he wanted to do. But he couldn't. He was just so frustrated.
Cut the theatrics. It was a missed call.
I'm with you on that.
Ron has benefited a lot on calls, on travels, on all kind of things.
Oh yeah. Them travels be outrageous. I ain't gonna lie.
Like it was a miss, 100%.
Terrible miss.
But you're the leader of your team. How they supposed to get up for overtime? We've seen this happen with JR. You're the leader of the team. If you out there crying and crawling around, it's in the regulation. You got another period to play.
Yeah, another 5 minutes.
Go get the dub. Ball never lies, all that. And he just, that be the part that's hard to root for him, man. That part. He is phenomenally talented, just ridiculously talented. Accomplished everything you could imagine. But it's just that diva, childish persona that just be, like, come on, bro. You better than that. It's a regular season game. Y'all ain't going nowhere anyway. We all know this. So the theatrics was just a lot for me. But to y'all point, that record I saw, that 36-2, you got to look at that. The same as, I forget the record with the ref and Chris Paul.
Oh, that's bad. That is bad.
Like there's some of them stats that they do got to do a better job of taking a look at. It'd be a little wild. But yeah, man. Chris, while we're on basketball, we have to get your updated picks. I say updated because you have the benefit of almost half the season to pick who you think are going to make the playoffs, but we still will trust you to be an honorable man.
Oh, 100%. 100%. So when we do this, are we doing 10? Or are we doing 8?
We're doing 8. Who's going to make the playoffs? They can make
8.
the play-in, but win the play-in.
Okay. So they got to be in order too.
Nah.
All right. Let's start with the East.
Let's start with these.
I'm going to be honorable. No order. Philly, Milwaukee, Boston, Brooklyn, Cleveland, Atlanta. I had Chicago in there, and I think the last one. Who I had the last one? I think it was Miami.
Mm,
Wow, you don't have the Knicks in the playoff.
no Knicks.
No.
Two, three,
No,
four.
did I? No. Yeah, I think I had the Knicks out. I had Miami was the last one. Listen, I thought Chicago was it. Y'all should know how I feel about Chicago. I thought they were it. You said be honorable.
Mm-mm.
You said
And you
be
didn't
honorable.
have Toronto either. That's interesting.
Oh heck no, not at all. Not a believer. Not a believer.
Heck no.
Not a
All
believer.
right. The disrespect. Okay. So a lot of us are pretty similar.
It's just East or East and West.
Oh, we're gonna
No,
get to the
we're
West.
gonna do
Okay.
East, we're gonna do West too. I was just trying to look and see.
Mhm.
I think everybody has Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Miami, Boston,
I took Miami.
Philly. Dev, you got Boston, Philly, Cleveland, Milwaukee, Indy, Miami, Knicks.
Okay.
And that's 7.
Yeah.
Maybe you have Atlanta. I think I put 8. It corrected it to all. But I think I put jerks. So really where we differ is Kenny and Chris have Chicago and me and Dev don't. I have the Wizards and no one else does. I have the Raptors and no one else does. But I don't have Atlanta.
I think I'm the only one that had the
Chicago.
Pacers.
You are the only one that has Indy, and you and Kenny both have the Knicks. So we're pretty similar, but we got a couple differences. Right now, if we did a quick update, I think we're all missing maybe 1 or 2 teams.
Yeah, we are. I looked at it because I had to. I forget teams. We all. Right now,
Indy is falling all the way
Indy's
out.
falling off.
Yeah.
Toronto's all the way
Toronto.
out.
Chicago and Washington are tied. And right now, to order, it's Boston 1, Milwaukee 2, Philly 3. They should be 2 right now, but they had an error to lose to the Magic. You got Brooklyn 4, you got Cleveland 5, Miami 6, New York 7, and the Atlanta Hawks 8.
And that's the thing. If you at 7, it don't matter how much better you are than 10, you still in the play-in. So it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, we're all still in the mix relatively. The Toronto, I think they're gonna blow that up. So I think that's gonna be a miss. And then Washington's gonna be a struggle. We get hot and then we fall off and we get hot. And that's why we don't know if we want to trade anybody or if we want to stay in pat. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, what you got for the Western Conference, Chris?
So for the West, again, no order. My 8 was Denver, Memphis, Clippers, Golden State, Dallas, Portland.
2 more.
I did have the Pelicans in there. And what am I? I'm at 6 right now.
You at 7.
That's 7.
7. Who was my last team? Who was my last team? Who was my last team? I'm pretty sure it was LA, the Lakers.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, Chris and I have aligned to get
everything right
out of here.
Wait, who?
Nah, just the Phoenix Suns.
Oh yeah, no. I didn't have them making the playoffs. I'm not a believer in them.
And right
Did I
now,
choose them?
Did
Say
you
it again?
get?
Did I choose Phoenix? Because I most definitely got off that band with that 8 bandwagon, boy.
Nah, you got Dev. You got Denver, Memphis, Golden State, New Orleans, Dallas, Phoenix, Lakers, and Clippers.
I chose Phoenix. I don't know why. All right, anywho.
I am the only one that has the Lakers not in the playoffs. I am the only one that has Minnesota in the playoffs. I'm the only one that has Sacramento in the playoffs.
They starting to fall.
Did I have Sac? I don't know.
Go
I think I no. See, the play not having a play hurt because I had Sacramento making a play in because I was a believer in Sacramento.
And so I guess we'll get it while we're here. Dev, I don't have your championship matchup. And Chris, who do you have in the finals?
Dev, go first, man. Go first, Dev. Go first.
From the East, I'm gonna take Boston. I think Boston is gonna come through out of the East. Most definitely because they got depth on the bench. And then by them adding Malcolm Brogdon, it's most definitely going to help them come into late game situations, and they don't have to put Marcus Smart in. For the West, for the West, it is a toss up in the West, boy.
Don't be scared.
I am going to take. I'm gonna take Denver. Normally, I'm not a big fan of Jokic, but I think with Jamal Murray and Porter Jr. coming back this year, it kind of to make them a little deep. I'm gonna take Denver, so I'm gonna say Boston and Denver in the championship.
I just want to interrupt real quick because I did turn on that Warriors game, and I was thinking it in my head while you was talking. When this Warriors team plays defense, they are dangerous. Right now, they are clamping down the stretch. But it's just interesting to watch. Kevon Looney just locked up SGA 1-on-1.
But you know, Looney, to give Looney his credit, they tried to single him out in the finals, and he proven that he can hold his own, especially when SGA is not the most shiftiest guy.
He's not.
You know. So now is he holding his own against a Kyrie? Absolutely not. Against
He's
a John
creative,
Morant?
though.
Say it again.
I said SGA is most definitely creative.
Oh no, he's creative. He's creative, but he's not. I don't think quick burst like a Kyrie, like a Ja.
No, he got them long. He got like long strides a little bit.
Again, Oklahoma City had a 2-on-1. Draymond plays great defense in transition. They don't get a bucket after a Steph turnover.
But also that's OKC.
And Steph hits a 3, and that might just do it.
But that's OKC been immature a little bit because now at first they was running some good team offense. Then after a while they just started playing ISO ball.
And that's the difference. Can you continue to execute down the stretch? That's the key for these teams, man, is can you execute down the stretch? That's what separates the good from the bad. That was an amazing.
You know, I want to change my championship pick, man. Throw me in for the Warriors, man. I think we're gonna get a rematch.
Ooh.
I'm gonna call it. Let's go for a rematch.
Let's go for the rematch. All right. You just tricked something off there. I'll explain it in a minute. Chris, who you got?
You know I got Philly coming out these.
Oh, okay. It's a Philly year, ain't it?
It's a Philly year. I feel it in the air. But all seriousness, you know, I told y'all I'm not a delusional fan. Let me be realistic. I look at bringing in a guy like D'Anthony Melton and that guard depth he brings and how we were able to be successful when Tyrese Maxey was out. And I think Tyrese Maxey is still trying to find his footing, but right now having him being that spark off the bench as a 6-man, he's going to give us 15 plus to 20 plus off that bench. I look at Embiid being a dominant monster. It's all about his health. And I think this is the year that everything clicks. James Harden looks like how he looked when he first got to Brooklyn. I think this is the Philadelphia's year. You know, yes, we lost to the Magic. It's the regular season. Teams lose to teams all the time. But I see the comeback win we had against the Denver Nuggets. And that's the team that I believe in. And that's the team I feel like will win the East. Joel Embiid is going to set us apart. Nobody can stop that man. If he is healthy, we match up well with wings, with guards. Joel Embiid is that difference factor in the Eastern Conference. It's him and Giannis. Nobody can stop those two guys. So when those teams are healthy around him and those two guys are healthy, they're successful. Personally, I just think this is Philadelphia's year. Now, coming out the West is tricky. The West is tricky. You talk about a Denver, right? And I'm trying to think of a team off the fly. You talk about a Denver, they're always there, but they never get it done. Talk about a Golden State, very, very great team. Can they be consistent? Man, screw it. Give me Memphis.
Ooh.
Screw it.
Memphis.
Give me Memphis.
Hold on now. Hold
Give me
on,
Memphis.
Chris. Hold
Give
on.
me Memphis.
Oh,
You know Memphis be struggling against Golden State. Now, what
Give
if
me-
they lock each other in the playoffs again?
Well, maybe my mind changes then, but we talking about right now
All
and how I'm
right.
feeling. And I gotta say, this Memphis team, when they're clicking on all cylinders, I think they're one of the toughest teams in the league. Now you're right; they have to click on all cylinders. To me, I think they need another vet that's a more of a presence other than Steven Adams on that team. I think that's what they're missing. But like, man, I buy into this team. Like, I love it. I love what they're bringing in Memphis. That's when they had, when they had Zebo, when they had Conley, when they had Gasol, when you could just buy and feel into the energy and you just believe in that team. I'm a believer in this Memphis team. Now, am I going to say they're the most dominant team in the West? No, the West is wide open, just like the East. But if you ask me today, January 30th at 10:11, I'm going with Memphis. Now, to your point, Dev, to your point, Ray, that Golden State team is a bad, you mean? But you asking me today, my heart is with Memphis.
My only concern about Memphis is that depth. They don't got a lot of depth on that bench.
all right. So let's recap here. And so it was started off as everybody was picking a different team. That's why at one point, Dev, when you said Denver at 1st, Kenny, ironically enough, has Memphis versus Philly. I got Golden State and Milwaukee. Dev got Golden State and Boston. And Chris also has Memphis and Philly. I want to love Memphis, but I'm not going to call them Cincinnati. But they haven't got it done at the biggest level yet. And I don't know, when I look at that roster, only John Morant really scares me, especially in the playoffs.
Bane. Look out for Bane.
No, I'm not.
Nah, Bane.
Not a believer yet?
Not yet.
He can get hot, like, other great shooters in the past, but I don't believe you can throw him the ball and say, hey, go get 30. Like, or in the final possession, hey, go get a bucket. The only person I know that can do that is John Morant, and I don't know if they're tested enough to hit those shots in those moments on that stage, because I haven't seen them do it yet.
Can I talk about one of my teams real quick that I was a believer in, and they let me down?
Talk about it.
The Dallas Mavericks. Going into the year on ASAP, I stated that I believe Dallas Mavericks are my dark horse team to win. I mean, to make it to the finals. And I'm looking at the game right now, and they're struggling against the Detroit Pistons. Luka has 40. Luka works too hard. We look at Luka's numbers, and we're amazed. And I started to feel like it's reminding me of LeBron with his first run with the Cavs, And I look at you bringing a guy like Spencer Dinwiddie, who I'm a huge fan of. I personally am a fan of Spencer Dinwiddie. I think he is one of the best, who was supposed to be one of the best secondary ball handlers in your lineup. And I look at him only having 2 to 3 points right now, where he should be taking a load off of Luka. So they're disappointing me. I thought Christian Wood was a huge pickup. I thought they would, I thought they would be a very good team. Obviously not. So let me ask you this. Let me ask you all this.
Talk to us.
Were the Mavs wrong in letting Brunson go? Do you think they're regretting that decision right now?
I say no.
Okay.
And here's why. That he was not much different than Dinwiddie. The issue is Tim Hardaway Jr. The same issue that Phoenix has with Mikal Bridges. You need more out of that guy. What put Golden State over the top last year was they got production from that 3 position.
Hey, Andrew, real quick,
Andrew Wiggins, good.
We right on Bridges. He doing something right now with 23 points at halftime. He got to be consistent. I just wanted to give him his flowers real quick. But go ahead.
And I've said
the
that.
same thing.
I've said that on this show. I said
Yeah,
Bridges
absolutely.
can be that guy.
You have.
He just got to be consistent. I feel the same way about Tim Hardaway Jr. Dallas needs a bona fide number 2 starter to go get buckets. It's great that you can have the Jordan Clarkson or the Tyler Hero that can come off the bench and give you buckets. You need another scorer in your starting lineup, and Christian Wood isn't enough of that. He's good, but he's not a number 2, in my opinion.
This is blasphemy. I'm sorry. I'm just looking at the stats for this game, and Luka's the only one at double figures with 40.
You know who
they're down 5 to the Pistons with no Cade Cunningham, with no Killian Hayes. Oh no, Killian Hayes is coming off the bench, but without their star guy, they're down 5. And all the Mavericks are really missing from. I'm not going to count Kleber because he hasn't played all year. It's Christian Wood, and they're down 5.
You know who Dallas Mavericks remind me of?
Talk
you
to
know
me,
what their NFL team they remind me of?
Talk to me.
We put so much hype into Buffalo Bills. Luka is Josh Allen. When Josh Allen is doing everything, the Bills are unstoppable. They look good. They look like the team that's going to make it to the Super Bowl and everything. When Luka dropped that 61 triple-double, the world went crazy and was like, oh my God, Luka is MVP. They have to go deep into the playoff. But then when you look into that 60 triple-double, when you look into everybody else stat line, like Ray said, Tim Hardaway, Christian Wood, it's hard to even say who's on this Dallas Mavericks team, really.
Reggie Bullock. You got Dorian Finley-Smith. You got guys, like, I'll be honest, they don't have outside of Christian Wood and Dinwiddie. I mean, the next guy who I think who can get a bucket is Jaden Hardy, and he barely plays. I mean, I don't see no other guy that can get their own on this team. They got Kemba Walker, and he doesn't play.
I think they cut Kemba. I think he's not there no more.
Yeah, Kemba gone.
Oh, but here's the stat for you. This is emblematic of what Luka is dealing with. Right now, Luka is 5 of 9 from 3.
Yes.
Remember those numbers. He's 5 of 9.
Oh yeah. I just saw the stats, so I can't wait for you to say it on there.
From 3, though? So you letting your guy shoot 9 3-point. Don't get me wrong, he ain't Steph, but when you
gotta listen to this stat, Dev.
Right. So he just shot another one, so now he's 5 of 10. The team is 7 of 26. He's 5 of 10. Everybody else is 7 of 26. So Tim Hardaway at 1 of 2 for 16. Spencer Dinwiddie at 0 of 3. Bertans, that's all you're supposed to do is shoot threes, 0 of 3. Like, you're not going to win with that. You can't win when you have that kind of inconsistency. He got 40. The next highest is 8.
Bullied him.
Like, that's just not good enough.
Parlay Monday, guys. One of my tickets hit. Shout out to the shootout. That shootout with Golden State and
OKC.
Woo!
Kings and Wolves are tied with a couple seconds left in the fourth. Let me get that game on.
I'll say this. I think I don't know what Dallas does. I'm scratching my head because I see a team that has the potential, but like when we talked about the West and I started naming teams, because I remember in the back of my head I had the Mavs potentially making it deep into the playoffs. And when I start naming teams and teams that right now, when healthy, will destroy them, let's talk about the Pelicans team. We've yet to see them at their full strength for a string of games. Do I think Luka can beat a healthy CJ, a healthy Zion, a healthy Ingram, plus the supporting cast, where their supporting cast is way better than the Mavericks? It's hard for me to believe in it. And so right now, the Mavericks, I don't know if they'll do something at the deadline, but this is not a team, and I believe in to win something in the long run. Can Luka carry a team? Absolutely. But how much does he have to give?
If I'm Dallas, I am hitting up Utah. I'm trying to get Jordan Clarkson, maybe. I'm trying to find marketing. I'm trying to find.
But you don't got nothing to go get those guys.
I think that they really don't have anything.
Yeah, that is true.
You really don't have
because you
much.
gotta. To your point,
I would even see if I could get a Colin Sexton or Malik Beasley. I think their cost would be less than a Clark. I think marketing is out the window because you got Christian Wood. So I think
but
that's
he ain't never on the floor. He always hurt.
Got a point.
You know what I mean? And that was Dallas. That was one of Dallas' downfalls last year against Golden State. They couldn't rebound.
Absolutely.
You got Cleaver out there trying to battle his life against Looney and Green and Dwight Powell. These guys are most definitely got the height advantage over these guys, but it wasn't putting bodies on nobody. So you most definitely gonna have to find a reliable big man that can stay healthy, and that's able to go and be able to score and rebound. Because without those two, Dallas ain't going far. Dallas will be lucky to get out the first round, depending on who they match up against.
But that's my point. You have to have a number 2.
Because he about to
you got to have a Harden and Embiid. You got to have somebody else. You got to have a Murray that's going to go with your Jokic.
I like that comparison better than Harden and Embiid because it's rare you're going to find 2 All NBA guys. But from your Murray and your Jokic, because when I look at Jokic and Luka, you got first team All NBA. Murray is a perennial All-Star, but he's a guy that you can trust that can get you 20 consistent.
I think another year off his injury, he's going to be back.
Oh my goodness. Because I was a fan of Murray since he was in Canada in high school, and I saw what he did in Kentucky, and I saw what he did in the bubble, and I wasn't surprised. So to your point, you need a Murray, Jokic. You need somebody like that for Luka, and I just don't know who you can afford to go get. That's the issue.
And I don't know that person exists, but even on a smaller scale, a Fox and Sabonis, you need a bona fide number 2 that you can rely on every night, and Luka don't have that.
He doesn't.
And until they get that, I don't think you can compete in the West because it's too deep.
Mm-hmm. It's either a team has one star and a lot of quality role players like your Memphis, who doesn't. You could say their number 2 is Desmond Bain, but he's not bona fide yet.
And that's my concern with them is if Ja has an off night, then what?
See, but the thing with Memphis is that they're so much deeper than in my opinion, than Dallas, because you say he has an off night, then what? I look at Desmond Bain as averaging 21, who has shown he's coming off, mind you guys, he's coming off an injury.
Keep in mind, we're talking playoffs. I ain't talking regular season.
You're right, and I have faith that in the playoffs, he
can average that.
I think he's going to average 17 to 20 this year in the playoffs. Absolutely.
If your number 2 is averaging 17, that's getting you beaten.
You gotta sit here and think though, Chris. You can't do that because now you got a Jordan Poole that's coming off the bench that's averaging 15, 17 by itself.
You right.
So
and I say that the 21, and my biggest problem with them is not even with Desmond Bain because he's been consistent. My biggest problem with Memphis, even though I'm going to stand on my pick, I'm not going to go back on my word now. But is the 2 guys that are going to be the difference makers? It's not going to be Desmond Bain because I'm telling you guys, he's been consistent. It's going to be Jaren Jackson Jr., who's making me. He should be averaging 20 and 10 with 3 blocks, and it's going to be Dylan Brooks.
Trouble. He
has terrible foul trouble, and it's going to be Dylan Brooks. Those 2 guys, because they'll either give you 15 or 20, or they'll give you 5 to 10.
I'm not a big fan of Dylan Brooks. I just think he's a one-way type of player. I think he's strictly all defense. When it comes to offense,
but he don't know that because he shoots the ball a lot.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. He shoots the ball to the point where it's like he's involved with that offense. And I'm with you. I don't believe in his offensive game at all. I mean, his numbers. I look at his offensive numbers, very inconsistent. He's shooting under 40% from the field, 32% from the three-point line. But when you shoot close to the second amount of most shots on the team, and I was a firm believer they should have got rid of Dylan Brooks. So you try to replace that with a more efficient 3-and-D guy because, again, his numbers are terrible.
You got Danny Green on the bench. I don't know why they haven't use him.
I don't know what's going on. It feels like no wing veteran wants to play with them. We saw this happen with Iguodala We're now seeing it with Danny Green. I don't know the issue, but
Them young boys can't be told nothing.
Yeah, and they not looking to play half court offense. They looking to
They
run and
looking
gun.
to run down. I'll say this, man. Kevin Hubert, man, you cost me some money. But back to the regular schedule program.
Trey Lyles just banged on Gobert and
Not
won in
surprising.
OT.
Here's a crazy thing, guys. For all this trouble we talking about Dallas, they are only down 1 at the end of the third quarter.
But they shouldn't be. They should be up 10.
Detroit, though.
They should be up 10.
They're at home versus Detroit.
They should be up 10. Like I'm tired of looking at every time I click my phone. I'm tired of seeing Luka's the one scoring. Dinwiddie has
the only one.
nobody. I promise
you,
you.
touched the ball in the last 5 minutes.
You know how pissed I'm going to be if this game ends and Luka Doncic is the only one in double figures and they still win.
No. Who's the next person up? Who's at the dunk?
You got 2 people with 8. One of them is DeVelle McGee. The other one's shooting 3 for 10, 1 for 6.
And I don't understand
Dinwiddie's 0 for 7.
Why he don't get more run.
Dinwiddie about to cost me 100.
It's time for him to get traded. It's a team that needs a big man. You know what I mean? Honestly, the Warriors can use JaVale McGee again.
Bring him back. Wiseman can't figure it out.
Oh yeah, Wiseman. Wiseman, man. I blame.
He's gonna get traded.
I trade him a long time ago.
He's gonna get traded by the deadline.
Yeah, man. I wish him the best because I feel like if he was able to stay,
package him up, get that man out of here.
If he was able to stay,
he's gonna be in Orlando. He's gonna be in Orlando.
God no.
Oh, I would hate
because Orlando trying to get rid of They trying to trade
Orlando has 2
Bomb. They trying to trade Mo Bamba. At least Mo Bamba can.
They don't want to trade him for another big. They got.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but if you're going to do that, at least Mo Bamba can say that he can stay in the NBA instead of G League.
Nah, Mo Bamba can come to DC. I'll take Mo Bamba.
Yeah, the Magic have 4 of every position. They got 4 point guards, 4 shooting guards, they got 6 to 8 forwards, and they got about 3 to 4.
You draft in the top 10 every year. What you expect?
That's the issue. I stated prior to this that they need to pick their core guys and trade away the rest of their assets and start building.
I disagree on what you just said, by the way. They ain't got no shooting guards. Gary Harris and Jalen Suggs are not ideal if those are your 2 shooting guards.
They undersized shooting guards. They like what? They like 6'3".
That's my bad. I forgot that they got Paolo at the 4 and Wagner at the 3. I'm thinking Wagner plays the 2.
Yeah.
That's my bad.
Paolo put up 29 and 9 tonight.
Paolo went crazy. Listen, obviously rookie of the year. It's not even close.
Yeah, he didn't beat Boston. He didn't beat Philly. I think he beat Boston twice this year, even with him or without him.
Nah, it's not close. Where I saw you make that face. It's not close.
No, I agree with you.
Oh, okay.
100%. You ain't getting no argument. The only
we could score
when Indy was winning,
he got
11. Mathurin in the conversation.
Indy has 2 guys that's taking votes away from each other. That's their issue.
Agreed.
Just like I remember when Chris Paul and Blake Griffin MVP voting, they're taking away votes from each other. But Indy probably has the best class of rookies right now. I would say, as more than one.
They got a lot of good young talent over there. They got to flip Buddy Hield for somebody else. They just extended Miles Turner, which is the right thing to do. I've been telling y'all.
Dinwiddie finally scored. Dinwiddie finally scored. Give me 10 points, man.
I just like to be right. That's all. So Jokic and Embiid faced off.
Woo!
The weekend. And one guy who I've been saying should have won the last 2 MVPs outplayed the other. And that was the issue last year was they played head to head. Jokic won. He had a better game. So that's what they leaned on. So is it safe to say Jokic is now out of the MVP race and it is Joel Embiid's to lose? I'll start with you, Chris.
No. Can't say that. As much as I want to say Embiid is, well, no, I'm going to say it. Embiid is the best center in the NBA.
Mavericks getting hot without Luka on the floor.
Yeah, I have to give Jokic his credit. The numbers he puts up, his style of play. I'm not going to say he's out of the MVP voting because he's really close to averaging a triple double, and at the center position at that. So I think that we have to give him his credit, especially if they end up as the first seed. The only way that Embiid will be able to win MVP against that if we're a top 3 seed and he still leads the league in points back to back years. He had double digit rebounds and he stays healthy. Other than that, it's going to be hard for the voters not to vote for Jokic. I will say this though: Sundays was a masterclass. You saw the two different playing styles of the two big men, right? But I feel like Embiid showed why he's the best because yes, he's not the traditional playmaker, but he can get you 5 assists because you're going to double team him. So he's going to get guys involved. He's going to dominate the glass against a guy like Jokic, and almost gave him 50. He almost gave him 50. I think that was a personal statement game for Joel Embiid and for the Philadelphia 76ers. We were down, and I saw Embiid come back, put the team on his back, and he showed why he's the best center in the NBA. He should have an MVP. To say he should have 2 back-to-back, again, I'm realistic. Probably won't happen. Probably wouldn't have happened. But he should have won. Should have won last year. He should have won last year. And so Embiid to me is, I should say, higher in the MVP voting. He's probably not going to lead the league in scoring after the night Luka's about to have. They're going to go back and forth for that scoring title. I think it's going to be between them two all year. And if I had to put a third person there, it might be Tatum. But it's going
He
to be
led the league in scoring last year though, and it did
Who?
not. Embiid.
Oh no, I'm just saying, but that's why I said we need that he has to play more. It's a lot of factors that's going to come in, especially if the Nuggets end up the first seed. I think if Jokic, let me pull up Jokic's numbers. Like I'm saying, I really think he's right there to averaging a triple double. I do.
Yeah, the numbers is going to be there.
The numbers are going to be there.
Is going to produce the numbers,
and so that's why I'm saying he's averaging 25, 11, and 10 if we're rounding 25.1, 10.9, 9.9. He's so. But I will say this: I do believe Embiid he should win the MVP. The only way he doesn't win it if we're not a top 3 seed and he doesn't have the games played.
Okay, Dev, your thoughts? Is this Joel Embiid's MVP to lose at this point?
I think the league is going to give it to Joel Embiid this year because honestly, in my opinion, Embiid should have got it last year. I think it's going to come down to him and Jason Tatum. It's going to come down to the 2 finals, in my opinion. And it's going to come down to, my opinion, it's going to health and seeding. Can Philly catch Boston? If Philly can catch Boston in the number 1 seed before the end of the season, then it's safe to say that I think Embiid can have it. He deserved it. He's been the most dominant big man, in my opinion, for the last 3 years. There's no center, in my opinion, that's been more dominant than Embiid. Jokic might have more triple doubles, but to actually feel the dominance of a center, I think you got to give it the hands down to Embiid. And for Tatum, the way Tatum has been playing, it's not going to just be handed to Embiid. So I think those two is going to come down to the better end, and I wouldn't be surprised if the NBA made those two co-MVPs, just because they wouldn't understand who to give it to, especially if Boston don't come up off that number 1 seed. Because like I said, the NBA probably felt some type of way that Embiid probably should have got it last year, and you don't want to discredit Jason Tatum the way how he's been playing either. So I like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they do that co-MVP just to try to make fair, I guess, in my opinion.
I don't want to see that. I don't.
I kind of don't want to see it either. You know what I mean? Because you clearly can see who's the most dominant and who's more valuable to a team. You know what I mean? I in my eyes, I think if Tatum so happened to be injured, I think Boston could kind of survive a little bit longer than Philly could survive without Embiid.
Let me ask y'all this, and this is just something that just randomly popped in my mind. Do you think the league should add an offensive player of the year? Hear me out. Yeah, y'all could completely disagree. No. That's all you had to say.
No, because I kind of don't like it in the NFL. Okay. I feel like you kind of give it. I feel like if you can't win MVP, I feel like the NFL will give offensive player of the year to the second runner up to the MVP. You know what I mean? And I kind of don't think that it should be just a quarterback that should be winning the MVP. I
I
think
agree with you. I agree
you
with
know
you.
what I mean. So that's the only thing in my eyes. As far as for the NBA, I just think that that's what you would do in the NBA also is whoever don't win MVP is going to win Offensive Player of the Year.
And I'm glad.
Wrong.
You said wrong.
I disagree with that. Well, I
Okay.
agree with it, but I think that's a good thing. Like
Yeah.
last year, Joel Embiid would have been the offensive player of the year. He
And this
led
year
the
I look
league
at
in
Luka.
scoring, but he didn't give him the MVP. So if you have a defensive player of the year, I don't understand why you don't have an offensive player of the year and also having an MVP, which should be a mix of the two. Because typically, and what I keep hearing y'all talk about is the offensive side of the ball when it comes to MVP. Joel Embiid is a better defender than Nikola Jokic. And that
Oh
part
yeah,
doesn't
most
get
definitely.
just because he grabs rebounds doesn't make him a better defender. And so for me, that matters. When Giannis is winning MVPs, it's because he also plays amazing defense that Luka doesn't. So when you're talking value, yeah, great, you gave us 50, but if they got 48 off you, it don't really matter. So I wish I would like them to do that to reward the offensive player because there's some great offensive players. SGA might be in that conversation, but he's not going to be an MVP conversation because his team's not good enough.
He can
So
most definitely be the most improved though, because his game just keep improving each year. It's not like he's stagnant into that how he was his first year. It's like he most definitely keep improving. Now I'm not saying that he should get rewarded most improved every year if his game is improved, because now he most definitely should take that next step and try to get into a different category than most improved. So
Absolutely.
I can agree with you on that one, but I just feel like that offensive player of the year is like a participation trophy, kind of. Like I see your point. Like I almost definitely see your point, but I just feel like if you can't decide on, if you having the trouble deciding, it was like, well, Tatum, you did have an okay year, so we're gonna give you an offensive player of the year. But what if somebody else played a better offense, was a better offensive player than Tatum? Um, so do you still give him uh that nod of him getting offensive player just because he came second in MVP?
I don't think it has anything for me. It has nothing to do with MVP or coming in second. If you were the best offensive player, if you led the league in scoring and were maybe top 2 or 3 in assists, and your efficiency was high, you were the best offensive player. The same thing with defense. We don't care nothing about the offensive stats of defensive player of the years. So the same thing for offense. If you don't play no defense, but you putting up a bunch of points, reward that.
And real quick, let me just chime in, and that's where and Dev, Dev, I agree. Well, I want to, I understand what you're saying. I'll say
Mm-hmm.
that I really understand where you're coming from. This is why I wanted to ask the question because I look at we named the SGA, and let's talk about a Luca, right? But let's talk about SGA right now. SGA will not be in the MVP conversation at all. We know this. His team won't be winning, but
That, and I think it's too many guard heavy that's sitting over top of him also.
To your point, but then when I look at an offensive player of the year, should he be running for that? Absolutely. And then also, Dev, I also see what you're talking about because then you'll say, okay, let's say Jokic wins. Let's say Jokic wins MVP. Then we look at Embiid, second runner up, having a great offensive year. So don't get me wrong, I understand where you're coming from, but I feel like there are guys that are putting up some crazy offensive numbers that should be recognized. And I don't think it should be a second MVP voting. Well, he gets first in this because I really think when it comes to offensive player of the year, let's just talk about the NFL. It should never be a quarterback unless the quarterback breaks all these records. I look at Justin Jefferson. It should probably be him.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at a guy that maybe isn't in MVP conversation, and we just talking about SGA, but he averaging 30 something, putting up six to seven assists. He should be in a potential offensive player of the year category. However, listen, there's a lot of flaws to this. This is something that just came in my mind because I'm looking at Luca's numbers, I'm looking at all these guys' numbers, that might not be in the MVP conversation, and like SGA might not even make All NBA, but the man's about to average 30 something. Let's talk about it.
Sure.
Some type of recognition needs to be had.
Just to throw now. What if now? How do you? Because
real quick though,
then comes with points. It comes with points, assists, like top 3 in assists and rebounds and steals and stuff like that.
I would vote it points, assists, and efficiency. That would be my category. I don't want to include rebounds because rebounds kind of play on the defensive end as well. Like somebody can average 7 defensive rebounds and 1 offensive rebound. So I kind of don't want to include rebounds unless you're big, and then instead of assists, we look at offensive rebounds.
All right, so now we talk about that. Now it can be like a buntload of players that can be for this offense. Now I'm pretty sure you will probably do it the same way as the defensive player of the year. But what if you have a bunch of players? Let's say we got a Ja Morant, Devin Booker, SGA, a Luka. They all their points and assists and efficiency is all around the same type of average. Like then how do we differentiate? I mean, how do we separate them now?
And that's a very good question.
It's not. It's the same answer.
What's the answer?
Who contributed more to winning? If you just scoring to not score, or just scoring to score, that don't mean nothing.
Right.
When you start comparing, there has to be a tiebreaker. If we all at 30, if we all shooting 50%, winning to a certain extent has to matter. Also, I think your team should matter. If you're getting those numbers with other great talent around you, that says a lot to me. It's easy to get them numbers when you play with a bunch of scrubs.
Mm-hmm.
When you got a dog on your team and you can still go get your buckets, I respect that. So I mean, I think there's a lot of different factors.
So what about SGA though? How do you feel about SGA?
Now I'm going to say now, since we put Devin Booker and Ja in the same conversation just because they don't fit in that MVP race. Now, what if they got the same, almost identical, same team wins, efficiency, points. I'm still trying to see y'all point. Like I see it, but I'm just trying to make.
And I see where you're coming from. All this is tricky. Like you got to really sit down and think about it because.
But it's not, because when does that ever happen? That they have the same offensive efficiency.
It's rare. It's rare.
And they have the same win-loss record, or real close. Like I feel like at some point there would be a differentiator. But again, it's no different than defense.
Right.
You got Gobert that has had good defensive ratings, but they're not always a top seed. So I don't think you have to have a top seed. I think you just take a look around. I think if we objectively right now looked at the NBA, I think we would all agree Luka's the best offensive player. Like,
sure. Between him and Tatum.
For me, it's that simple. Like, he's doing it by himself on a team with no help, and he does it night in and night out. No one else is doing that. So Tatum has Jaylen Brown and a bunch of other dogs on that team. SGA, I would say, is in a similar boat. But then we got to start looking at the rest of the averages. So, cool, the points are similar. What's the assist numbers? And I'm pretty sure those will favor Luka, if I'm not mistaken. And we talk about the lack of talent that Luka has around him. He's still putting up good assist numbers. Mm-hmm. And for what it's worth, SGA, his assist numbers may not be as good. He's averaging 5.6 assists and 4.8 rebounds, 30.9 on 51% shooting. If I go look at Luka, those numbers are going to be better, I'm pretty sure, of Luka, just from what I can tell. And if I'm going 33 points, 8.9, 8.4 assists, like, Luka's the better offensive player. He shoots a slightly lower percentage, but you expect that because he's shooting more difficult shots. In OKC, you also have a guy named Josh Giddey, who's a dog. You got some other young players that can help out. So to me, I think you're overcomplicating it. Take a look at your eyes. What do you see? I think we see Embiid, and I think we see Luka as offensive players. And from there, you would just try and figure out who you want to pick. and have the other little criteria, but those two for me are head and shoulders above everybody else.
Even though Tatum is being discredited because he's surrounded with a little bit more talent.
Yes.
Okay.
It's easier to put up the numbers when you ain't seeing a bunch of doubles. Embiid and Luka seeing mad doubles.
I think it's kind of hard to catch Tatum in a double anyway.
Very true.
Because you can Tatum can also set himself up, or he can get set up. So I most definitely see your point. I most definitely can, now that you saying it like that, I most definitely see it.
And Tatum has half the assists Luka got, and he shoots a lower percentage, and he has less points while we're at it. So he's just down in every category.
Well, to your credit, he got a team, so he don't have to be a dog every night.
No.
He just got to be.
Jaylen Brown gives you 37 and you give 30.
Right.
I bet Luka wished somebody would give him 37.
We thought Porzingis was going to be that guy.
Listen, Porzingis in the bubble, before he messed up his knee, they should have beat the Clippers.
They should have. They could have.
Porzingis, to me, that was the Porzingis that we were seeing glimpses of. We're starting to see it now with the Wizards, but he's showing that he's not a number 2, but he can be a very contributor to a team. Just to chime in real quick with this conversation. I'm glad I brought it up because I love what the conversation has brought in, and I'm curious to see how other people, think about this. But that was just something I was thinking of because we look at guys that put up offensive numbers that might not be in this MVP category, and to Dev kind of point, it may be hard when it comes down to the wire to look at some of these guys at face value. But I feel as though when you start breaking things down, you will start to be able to eliminate guys off the list.
Now, I think the consistency is really what it comes down to. Donovan Mitchell, the 71 was amazing, but what have you been done since then? What were you doing leading up to it? So
I'm listening though.
I think it just all of that matters. Games played is gonna matter.
Yes.
Like if you have a little bit less, but you played 10, 11 more games, I'm probably gonna give you the nod. Like I think it's a lot of different factors, but I would like to see that implemented, especially as we're seeing these ridiculous offensive numbers. I think you've got to do a better job of rewarding the offense. And right now they don't have that. So I'd be open to it if they so chose.
Dallas took the lead. Dinwiddie popped off for I think 13 in the fourth. Oh no, not 13. I'm sorry. About 10 in the fourth. Dallas has the lead. I just need him to score one more point, and I need Tim Hardaway to score 3. That's all I need for my night to be successful.
What you had there over 104?
No. I just had I had Dinwiddie for 13, and I had Tim Hardaway for 11. Everything else on my parlay hit, and it's funny because Dinwiddie's 5 for 15, and you got Hardaway's 1 for 6 from 3. So you hate to see things like this.
They are combined 1 of 12 from 3.
And it's funny that Luka is the one that's on the free throw line. Luka's about to. Oh, and they just subbed out Tim Hardaway. Oh my god!
I was gonna say Luka got 48. I don't know how many other people gonna shoot. They trying to get him to 50.
Man, and everything on this ticket already didn't hit. Ain't this something? It's fine though.
The way it goes, man.
It's the way it goes. Play better in the first 4 quarters.
Shout out to Steph, 38 and 12 tonight in the matchup.
Your guy.
With SGA. Toronto is taking a lead back.
That's a very good game that's playing right now.
There's a lot of people on this court. I don't know why they're on the court. They out here. So more power to them. Before we get out of here, we did have to follow up because you said you didn't like that Embiid was not a starter, Chris.
Oh, absolutely. I thought it was a big word Stephen A would say. That's what I thought it was.
And so the question is for you and to Dev, if Dev agrees. So who should Embiid have started over? Tatum, Giannis, or KD?
KD, damn. KD, all right, KD. I don't know. That's hard. See, because we got to do this position stuff. Because in my opinion, I feel like he should be starting over Donovan Mitchell. I don't know. Okay, I don't look. I don't know. Embiid needs to be starting. That's for them to figure out. I don't care who's starting over. My feelings won't be hurt. Probably want to be Giannis. Probably want to be Tatum. So out of those
Giannis
three,
and Tatum have better records.
again, so out of those three, from KD to Donovan to Kyrie, one of them needs to be on the boot, and they need to put my man Embiid in there. I don't care who it is, but it needs to be one of them.
The answer's obvious.
KD.
He's missed games. You already got a Brooklyn net in the starting lineup with Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
You got to start Embiid. Sorry, not sorry. That's just the way it goes. So, Dev, your thoughts before we wrap?
Yeah, I most definitely can agree with you. KD, due to injury, most definitely should not have been starting. Honestly, even if you look at Team West, I don't think Zion should have been starting.
Thank you. I said this. I told you this, Ray.
I'm a big Zion fan. I believe in his talent and everything, but if we're not going to start KD for health reasons, we can't start Zion for the same reason also.
So who do you start instead?
Over
Ja,
Zion?
wait. Is Ja starting?
Is who?
No, Ja not starting, but that's not in. But we're going with position though. So
It's
in
only
position
two
over there,
back court, 3 front court. So if
so
not him, and I got a stat for y'all in a minute.
Lauri Markkanen.
Lauri Markkanen has.
Man, forget this positional stuff. The Warriors just started Draymond Green at 6'6" as center. John Morant should be starting an All-Star game.
So here's where y'all lose me. Here's where you lose me. New Orleans is now in the 7th seed.
right.
Y'all know where they were when Zion was playing consistently?
Number one.
Between
1 and 3.
The New Orleans Pelicans, quiet as it's kept, have lost 8 in a row to fall to the 7th seed.
Mm-hmm.
Who do we attribute that plummet to?
No Zion. I feel like I'm in school.
Honestly, between Brandon Ingram and Zion, honestly.
No. Brandon Ingram been out all year. Ingram been out all year. Zion.
Ingram been playing. He been in and out. He played. I think him and Zion almost played about the same amount of games.
It's been a while though since I remember seeing Brandon Ingram. I'll be honest. It's been a while.
So that team was in the top spot. I like Lauri Markkanen. I think he should be an all-star.
Not a starter.
But they're at the 10th spot right now with him playing. Don't talk to me about Zion not starting over Lauri Markkanen.
You're right. That's why I said Ja Morant. Forget his positionless basketball.
You can't just say that. And that's what keeps me. Y'all just be making stuff up. No,
how am I making stuff up? I seen Kevin Durant play the 5. I seen LeBron James line up at the 5. So when it's the All-Star game, why can't it be your best on the court? The best on the court should be your top 5 guys.
In a guard-driven league, we would almost never have bigs then.
Because here's my thing.
Because if you're going to start,
Roy Hibbert was the starter in the All-Star game.
Who?
Roy Hibbert. Since then,
bring up old stuff.
Yes,
man.
I can, because ever since then, I've been a firm believer that it should be your top 5 guys.
I got one. Since we kind of don't believe Zion shouldn't be in there. What about Sabonis from the Sacramento Kings?
I could live with that.
I could live with that as well.
He's a double big guy. He's consistent. The Kings is in the top 6 seed?
Yeah.
In the West.
Better put some respect on them. They're in the top 3.
Oh, my bad. My bad. So that's the only person right now that I can just think off top of my head that I can put in front of Zion. This only because of health issues. Like I said, if Zion was to play was playing right now, hands down, I would most definitely choose Zion. But dealing with health issues, I say I will go with Sabonis just to think of a name off top.
I'm not gonna argue with your Sabonis take, but I have a better take for you.
Okay.
I got a better take for y'all. And this is about to get us up out of here. Zion is not the issue with the West starting lineup.
Ooh. You talking about LeBron, huh?
No.
I knew it was coming. I knew.
No. Hell no.
Why are we rewarding him?
Hell no. Hell no.
They are 23 and 28.
Hell no.
Why is he starting in the All-Star game?
Nope. Absolutely not.
Because he's about to
They
beat
are
the ring. That's why.
23 and 28. Why is he starting an All-Star game?
Because name 10 people right now that's better than him.
Lloyd Markkinen deserves to be in the All-Star game.
Over LeBron.
Over
Get outta
LeBron James.
Yeah, bye.
Stop it. Get some help.
Bye.
Can y'all name me another team with 3 Hall of Famers on it?
That are playing all the time? Because LeBron, quiet as his kept, averaging 30.
2.
Averaging 30.
2 Hall of
Averaging
Famers.
30, 38, and 7.
And who's he guarding? And that's what that was my point. Why I said what I said earlier.
Who does Luka guard? Who does Luka guard? Who does Zion guard?
That's why they're losing. But they're better than the Lakers.
I'm saying, you're tripping if if no LeBron in the All-Star game.
What is your argument for him? The numbers?
He the GOAT. I'm talking about argument. I ain't gonna argue nothing. He the GOAT. That's it.
The GOAT of what?
The GOAT of basketball.
These kids.
You absolutely right. You know why? Because right now, they're in a 2-game winning streak. They've been a little inconsistent. But right now, I mean, they not too far from the Mavs, and the Mavs got a starter in the playoffs. They 3 games.
The Mavs are the 6th seed. The Lakers are the 13th seed
by 3 games.
I don't care about how many games. You are what your record says you are. That's what they say, right? Listen. So if the season ended today, where would the Lakers be?
Listen,
I'd have it.
3rd worst in the West.
That's cool. And who the All-Star getter go voter? LeBron.
That's a fan vote. We get that.
And so you mean to tell me that everybody else don't think LeBron should be a starter in the All-Star game?
They're idiots. It's all sheep think. If LeBron wasn't LeBron on any other team with the exact same numbers, we would be laughing at them being an all-star starter.
Would we really?
Yes.
So if you take LeBron off, who you start?
I told you you could start.
Let me ask you this:
Front court player
start that year when the Wizards were trash?
Huh?
Was Bradley Beal started the year the Wizards were trash?
No.
I don't think Bradley Beal started the All-Star yet.
Okay, never mind. I yield my time.
Like, I'm not saying it's a bunch of people.
No, just give me about 2 people off top.
Like I said, from front court, I would start. Markkinen is more deserving, and Sabonis is more deserving.
Okay. So if Zion can't play in the All-Star, who would you put in his position? The same people?
Sabonis is first on my list. He should be first in.
Right.
And then followed by Markkinen. And that's after that is pretty.
I don't know about the marketing. I haven't really looked into his game.
I mean, listen, man.
Listen, I'm just telling you what I see.
I'm telling you, it should not be. It should be your top 5 guys.
Laurie averaging 25 and 8.
Oh, that's why I think Laurie should be in it. Like we sleeping on Laurie,
and really not. I'm the one campaigning for him. You the one saying LeBron.
That was Dev.
No, Chris. That was all you do. You the one that's fighting for LeBron to still be. I see Ray Point because
LeBron.
You know what I mean?
LeBron should start.
No, you just
Laurie
said
terrible.
Laurie over Zion.
Nah,
LeBron
I can see Ray's point. I can see Ray's point of LeBron. You know what I mean? I have my own pick with Zion's because health issues. But I see what Ray talking about as far as LeBron.
Come on, man. What are we doing? Why are we? Why? This is an all-star game.
Here's how I will
team
apply. Hey, Ray,
success.
you ain't even got to. Ray, just
It
sit
has
back.
nothing to do with team success.
Hey, Ray,
LeBron
just sit back.
operates in the
Hey, Ray, just sit back. Just sit back. Hey, Chris, would you put DeAndre Ayton over LeBron right now in the All-Star game?
Why? Heck no.
Why? He's over LeBron.
And what?
And his team is in better position than LeBron.
And this is what we talk about. The All-Star game should have nothing to do with team record. It should be the best individual players in the NBA. I'm tired of the team.
Yes,
So you telling me you is fine with having somebody from Detroit Pistons making the All-Star game?
If Kate Cunningham was playing right now, averaging 29, 10, and 10, why should he not?
Here's a question for y'all. Where's the All-Star game being played?
In Utah.
Lauri Markkanen should be starting in the All-Star game for that reason. Get LeBron and his loser life out of here.
I'm saying, like, come on, like the year that we saw the Atlanta Hawks have 4 starting All-Stars and none of them deserve to be in it, but maybe Millsap, maybe. What are we doing? Why are we?
Because the East was weak. Shout out to LeBron running through the West East.
But that's my point. They were rewarding. No, I bet you. What year was this? Please.
A while ago. The point is, he did not deserve. He did not earn this.
Okay,
this should be an award that
averaging
is
30 and averaging 38 and 7 is you not earning something. Okay, you lost me.
He's averaging 38. Is that what you just said?
30,
30
and 7 assists.
Okay. 30 and 7 and being the third worst team in the conference.
Who cares?
What do you mean, who cares?
Who cares?
I care.
Yeah, you care. But when I watch the All-Star game, I don't want to see the guys that make the right play every game. I don't want to see the Mike Conley.
Lauri Markkanen is an exciting player that should have an opportunity.
And he should be starting. Not over LeBron.
There's no reason for LeBron to start. He can be there. He should not be a starter.
LeBron's a starter.
He shouldn't be.
He should be.
He shouldn't be.
He should.
I don't know what's worse, Tyler Huntley in the Pro Bowl or LeBron starting an All-Star game.
Hey. What did he do? Hold on. Let's clear my man name up real quick. My man, yes, I'm a little excited. It's a possibility my man could be making the Pro Bowl, but to his accountability, everybody that's in front of him, all the quarterbacks that's in front of him, is injured or don't want to play. So that's the only reason why my man Tyler Huntley is making the Pro Bowl. Don't be trying to sit here and try to clown my man like we all Ravens flock voted for him. No, it's just that all the other backups that's in front of him.
Another criminal investigation needs to be underway into how he made the Pro Bowl. I was pissed about Kyler Murray last year. Taylor Huntley this year is a joke. But
no, it just two were hurt. And I was reading an article. There's a bunch of quarterbacks that actually turned down a Pro Bowl this year.
Because
they do that every year. Me and you should get Pro Bowl votes if Tyler Huntley is getting Pro Bowl votes. And I'll leave that at that.
Man, you should have been on the field this year too, the way our quarterbacks was playing.
Man. Off season, here we come. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, Cancun. But y'all, it was a great show. Appreciate y'all coming on. Chris,
what's up, man?
I have a question for you before we go, and if you don't want to answer it because it's not sports related, I completely understand.
Yeah.
It's actually a really serious question. And I typically don't want to end like this, but I saw your shirt.
Okay.
So there was an incident recently with a young man who was murdered.
Absolutely.
By the police. And 3 members of those police force represented your organization. And I was speaking to another gentleman that I know who is a member of your organization. And from what I have yet to see, I haven't heard a statement from your organization.
There's been a statement that's been put out.
Okay, I didn't see that. Okay.
I'll share it to you. There's been a statement that's been put out.
All right. So that was going to be my question is, when are we getting that statement?
Yeah, the statement's been put out. I don't know how that person that you talked to didn't know that, but I'll feel free to send it to you in the chat.
All right, cool. All right, well, then we'll end on a more positive note. Racial drama is continuing to be right. Toronto, I need y'all to win so y'all can try and get in the playoffs. But I don't know who is more frustrating, Toronto or Jacksonville. because Toronto's talent is there. I don't know why they're so
Why
bad.
you?
I just think
Because
Toronto gave up.
they have no bench. What you mean? They got
I
no
think
bench.
I don't think they believe in Nick Nurse no more.
That too, and they have no bench, and they have no center. How you
I
going to
mean,
win against Embiid?
y'all been telling me for the longest time you don't need a center, so I don't want to start hearing no center talk.
Who said that?
This old guy that be on here talking crazy.
You need a center to get past Embiid. You need a center to get past Jokic. Now I say this: those are the only two dominant guys. Because you look at a guy like Bam, he's not a guy that's going to post you up and dominate you. However, you need some type of big man presence because Pascal Siakam is not about to outboard all these big men. He's like,
They're
what you going to do?
long, they're not tall, and I think
Pretty
that's the
much.
problem. They
Yes,
need
that's exactly what it
the
is.
Valanciunas, somebody that anchor in the middle that they don't have anymore. But they are still too talented to be this bad. You got 4 potential all-stars on this team, and they're just not good enough. And Scotty Barnes, I know they keep telling me he's untouchable in trades. I need to see a lot more.
He's not an issue. I don't think he's an issue. I don't think. I think literally the issue is they have no second unit. So is their start? You're asking their starters to do a lot more. You wouldn't be asking Scotty Barnes to average 20 if you had a second unit. They have no second unit. It's literally their first
The way
unit.
they talk about him, he should be averaging 20, and he don't.
I don't know why. To me, he's a guy that he's like he's sort of more. He's like a Draymond. I don't know why he has the potential to score more, but he's not a guy that's going to give you 30. Say it again.
No, I was gonna say he's much better offensively than Draymond.
He is, but his offensive game isn't polished yet.
Agreed.
All right. I'll say this. Let me say he's like a Ben, to where beginning of Ben, when Ben showed flashes that he can score, Scotty showed flashes that he can score, but I don't think his game is offensively polished yet. And when you have a guy like Van Lee, when you got a guy like Siakam, you got OG Anunoby, you got a Gary Trent, guys that can give you 20 plus. Sometimes it's like, okay, I can play the secondary role, get rebounds, get assists, and defend, and score when necessary. I honestly think they got. I don't know what to think. They suck. I mean, that's why I ain't picking them in the playoffs. So who cares?
Facts. Just before we go, Luka finished the night. I didn't realize 53, 8, and 5.
Disgusting
in
numbers.
36 minutes.
He should have only had to score 30.
He's gonna need an ice bath.
Won by 15. It's terrible. Oh, another one of my bets hit. It's a good day.
Dang. Well, I want to be like you when I grow up.
No, you don't, man, because I'm looking at everything about to hit for this game except for probably DeJounte Murray getting 6 assists because he got 20 points at halftime.
He cooking.
Oh, yeah, no Trey. Look, no Trey Young. DeJounte going to get his. Very efficient, too.
I told y'all this offseason.
And you did.
It wasn't going to work.
You did. And I'm looking at him right now at halftime, 7 for 12, 4 for 5 from 3, 20 points, 4 assists. 4 rebounds, 2 assists.
And
I really wish y'all can see this Portland halftime show. It's like
Portland got a decision to make as well. We'll get to that another day. Okay. But they also, I think we was talking about blow it up or not. They gotta do something. And I got some theories. So we'll catch up on that. I should be here Thursday right before I'm out of here. We can talk about the Pro Bowl, I guess, if anybody cares. But definitely tap in with us on Thursday at 9. We got some good stuff coming. Y'all have a great night. Stay up. God bless.
Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays.